Hello and welcome to Money Matters. In January, special purpose acquisition companies known as SPACs were regulated for listing in Hong Kong. And the first SPAC to apply was backed by China Merchants Bank. What exactly are SPACs and how are they different from IPOs? Special purpose acquisition companies, or SPACs, are a kind of blank check company with no operations. Its sole purpose is to raise capital through investors in order to acquire or merge with an existing company via a SPAC IPO. Once it has a target company and investors, it de-SPACs or sheds its SPAC status and IPOs.
The SPACs offer three advantages vis-a-vis an IPO. Number one, speed with which the deal can be done. Number two, the ability to have in your shareholding and a board member from those SPAC founders who are experts in finance or industry, as previously discussed. The third point is that many times during high volatility, there is price discovery risk that happens during an IPO roadshow. And then sometimes the outcomes don't work out. However, in a conversation with a SPAC, the target and the SPAC can ascertain the valuation and eliminate that price risk that comes via an IPO roadshow.
Last year, there were over 600 SPAC listings in the U.S., which raised over $160 million US. But by the third quarter of 2021, investor appetite cooled due to poor performance and increased regulatory scrutiny in the U.S.
And that's why the regulators has implemented various safeguards to contain the market manipulations to protect the investors.
Hong Kong's SPAC regime is much tighter than any other territory. Not only does it require a minimum of 75 professional investors, 20 of which must be institutional investors, any SPAC must be worth at least 1 billion Hong Kong dollars, and only professional investors can take part.
The traditional shell companies with minimal operations invite speculative trading and can lead to opportunities of insider dealing, market manipulation, and unnecessary volatility in the market, which are not in the interest of the investing public. The same concern arises for SPAC companies. This is exactly why the current careful approach in Hong Kong, which have so many what we call the safeguards and rules imposed to enhance the quality and to mitigate the risk of the manipulation concern. For example, the mandatory independent PIPE investments to complete a de-SPAC transaction, which serve as an important safeguard to demonstrate that the agreed valuation of this successor company is genuine.
Those sponsoring the SPAC, in the case of Aquila Acquisitions, its China Merchants Bank, play an important role in the ultimate IPO of the target company.
The SPAC sponsor expertise is a really important point that every target company should keep in mind. Because if the SPAC sponsors are good and they become part of your shareholding, they can help you deepen your equity story, they can help you grow because they have expertise in those sectors. Aquila, very strong sponsor, backed by China Merchants Bank, International Asset Management. And so high quality investors following the Hong Kong regulatory requirement, focusing on areas of their expertise. So new energy, new economy, technology, as well as advanced industrial production. So this kind of sponsor and this kind of SPAC really represents a strong benefit for the target companies to go merge with them.
The Hong Kong Exchange issued a statement to Money Matters regarding their strict guidelines.
In finalizing the regime, we sought to strike a balance between maintaining market quality and commercial viability. We believe that our SPAC regime will maintain Hong Kong's reputation as Asia's premier global listing market and will continue to attract quality international companies to list in Hong Kong.
Jackie Lai, a partner at EY, agrees with this.
The new SPAC listing regime in Hong Kong can ensure the competitiveness and ability to attract the listing of companies in particular the mainland China and the ASEAN countries that might otherwise go to list elsewhere. And given the significant slowdown of the Chinese companies listing in US, the market expects to see considerable interest to go SPAC outside US. And Hong Kong has the geographical advantages, which is closer to all those SPAC headquartered in Hong Kong and focusing on the mainland China or ASEAN targets for the subsequent acquisition.
Jackie points out that in the last 10 years, Hong Kong has topped the IPO market several times. He expects the same with SPACs.
Yes, the SPAC listing also offers a diversified investment opportunities for the Hong Kong. In particular, Hong Kong is a mature capital market. SPAC companies are usually new economy companies, and they are at the technology forefront with usually a more professional investors know how they work. So usually they could get a higher valuation through the SPAC listing.
Raghu Narain of Natixis points out that Hong Kong SPACs will attract global investors wanting to diversify their portfolios in Asia.
Also, the fast growth companies in this region, in China and Hong Kong, can get the capital that they need here instead of getting that from overseas. And then finally, Hong Kong serves and continues to serve as China's international financial hub. So for investors looking to get China exposure through companies operating in China, and for companies seeking capital outside of China, seeking public listing in Hong Kong, this becomes a really attractive proposition. So overall, I think it's a great outcome for Hong Kong and the SPAC ecosystem.
While SPACs benefit professional investors in Hong Kong, retail investors are excluded. But Jackie says the volatility of SPACs can be deemed too risky for retail investors.
The restrictions now applies only before the de-SPAC transaction. So after the de-SPAC transaction, there's no restrictions to retail investors. The current regime now allows more safeguards for the investors. So after the de-SPAC transaction, I would suggest all those investors must still be mindful or pay special attention to this kind of companies after this SPAC, in particular, their subsequent change in share price. These kind of companies are usually more sensitive to rumors or some news.
With SPACs continuing to grow in popularity in different markets globally, Hong Kong is hoping its own SPACs will keep the territory at the top of the global financial markets.
Financial Secretary Paul Chan said in his budget counter-cyclical measures will be rolled out, costing a total of $170 billion. Eligible Hong Kong residents will receive $10,000 vouchers, doubling the last handout. That will cost the government around $66 billion. Small and medium-sized enterprises got a lift with a measure that prohibits landlords from terminating the tenancy of companies for failing to pay rents on schedule or taking legal action against them. The special 100% loan guarantee scheme for SMEs will also be raised from $6 to $9 million, while the maximum repayment period will be extended to 10 years. A reduction of profits tax by 100%, subject to a ceiling of $10,000, will continue. European plane maker Airbus recorded net income of €4.2 billion for 2021 and set plans to restart a dividend payment. Airbus will deliver 720 aircraft in 2022 compared to 611 in 2021. The company has pledged to ramp up production of the A320 to 65 a month by mid-2023. Airbus has proposed a dividend of €1.5 a share. The company halted payments to shareholders during the early months of the pandemic. Japan racked up a 2.2 trillion yen trade deficit last month, an 8-year high, as the cost of energy imports soared. The finance ministry says exports rose 9.6% in January from the same month the previous year. But imports surged nearly 40%, resulting in a 6th straight month of trade deficits. Australian state New South Wales has ordered Amazon.com to pay a minimum rate to freelance delivery drivers. That could make it the world's first jurisdiction to compel the retailer to follow government rules on such payments. The measure will be gradually implemented over the next 3 years and will get underway from the 1st of March. It requires the world's largest retailer to pay freelance drivers a minimum of 37.80 Australian dollars per hour in the country's most populous state. Amazon has seen its shares double in value over the past 2 years as the pandemic prompted people to shop online.
Coming up on Money Matters, trading up in the Sheungwan rental market. Stay with us. Welcome back to Money Matters. Rental prices in Hong Kong dropped 1.4% since the fifth wave of COVID-19 started in December. Property agents say this is a good opportunity to get a bigger flat on the same budget. Zella Chin searches for a bargain in a newer project on the final stop of our journey through the Central and Western District.
On a chilly Monday morning, these kids are playing. A granny gets some morning exercise. Neighbors are chatting. This tranquil park in Sheungwan was where the British landed in 1841 and began colonial rule of Hong Kong for the next 150 years. This area used to be called Possession Point. The waterfront was much closer than it is today. It's nearby the intersection of Possession Street and Hollywood Road, which is dotted with hip restaurants. Expats like the blend of cultures in this neighborhood.
It's very interesting because you have a nice mix between Chinese traditional and a bit of Westerner. I like it. I prefer to have the chance to interact a little bit more, learn more about Chinese people.
30 to 50-year-old tenement blocks and fruit stands line the side of Queens Road West. Across the street are these newer 20-year-old pink buildings.
Queens Terrace was built in 2003 by the Urban Renewal Authority, New World Development, and Cheung Kong Development. It has 3 blocks with almost 1,150 units. Flat sizes range from 320 square feet to 635 square feet. Rents range from $47 to $62 a square foot. We visited a 3-bedroom, 538 square foot flat. The efficiency is low at 70%. The landlord is asking for $28,000 a month rent.
Jackie, there's quite a large mirror here.
The landlord used this mirror to bring the light into the dining room area and also enlarge the space in this dining room area.
Yeah, there's a lot of bespoke furniture as well.
Yes, there's a lot of storage in this tailor-made cabinet. So you can put some connected item in this mirror box and some display things on the cabinet.
So it saves the tenant getting their own furniture, I guess.
Yes.
So Jackie, how large is this living room area?
It's about 156 square foot.
And how would a tenant arrange their furniture here?
This TV cabinet and it's already is fixed. So you can put the sofa back here by your front area. And there's some space over there. So you can think about put a bookshelf, or if you can put even a piano in this space here.
So how many people would that dining room table fit?
I would say it can fit up to 46 round table in this area and still have a space to walk around.
Now, what if the tenant doesn't want this furniture? Can they move it?
It's difficult since the office furniture is fixed, so it need a lot of work to take it out.
So Jackie, what direction does this window face?
It's facing southwest.
So you get quite a lot of sunshine then?
It does. It will be a little bit hot during the daytime, but anyway, in Hong Kong, you have to turn on the aircon during the summer. Plus, it's a very large window, so it brings a lot of light into the inside the unit. It has 3 bedrooms, so I show you the room this way, please. So this is the first bedroom.
So the owner already put in furniture here, so you can have a desk, I guess.
I think this is fixed. So the landlord make this room as a study room for himself. So it's perfect right now. The COVID-19, a lot of people work from home.
How big is this room?
Okay, this room about 43 square foot big.
So is this large enough to put a bed in here?
You could put a single bed here. It's 6'4" for this length.
Really?
It's okay to put a bed for the adult to treat this as a study room and a guest room. Yes.
The second bedroom is about 50 square feet.
Jackie, why was there a step just now when we walked into the room?
Okay, the purpose of that is that there's a bay window over there, and the landlord wants to maximize the space of the room, so they raise up the platform. They use the bed to cover the bay window to enlarge the size of the bed.
How large is this bed frame? How big can the mattress be?
Okay, this is this bed between the double bed and the queen size. The width is about 4'6", so the length is about 6'3".
Is that an unusual size between two sizes, a double and a queen?
It seems that it's a tailor-made furniture, so that you need to tailor-make the mattress as well. Tailor-made furniture, like a dressing table, and then all the space for the clothing, the wardrobe, and then also you can, there's some space underneath the bed, which you can use.
The master bedroom is also about 50 square feet.
This is a very large view here. What direction does it face?
It's facing southeast, so you can see the morning sun in the morning, and across there's a very nice view.
Here is another tailor-made bed frame which requires a bespoke mattress. There is a desk at the foot of the bed. This tailor-made closet can fit about 10 to 15 suits. There is only one bathroom.
So Jackie, there's not much counter space here. Where can I put my things?
You could consider to put a rack at the corner here for your shampoo, body wash, something like that. So by maximize the countertop space.
The kitchen comes with a fridge, 3-head stove, microwave, and washing machine.
So Jackie, the finishing is a bit so-so.
Even it's not a very high-end apartment, but it's very practical. For example, it has a large window to bring the light.
While the landlord is asking $28,000 a month for the flat, he is willing to lower the rent to $26,000 a month.
Here you can see the market is a big slowdown because the COVID-19 spreading out. So, and less people are going out for flat hunting. Plus, it's less people come to Hong Kong at the moment. So it do give a pressure on the renting price.
This property consultant says $26,000 per month rent is reasonable.
28K, which is a bit high, I think in case you are talking about 26 to 27K, still acceptable. Because for the rental range in Queen's Terrace, it is ranging from 45 Hong Kong to 55 Hong Kong per square foot per month. But for the 3-bedroom unit, it always costs at the rates at around late 40, 48 to 49 something.
The project doesn't have a clubhouse nor parking. Residents can cross a footbridge to a cooked food center for their meals. There's a convenience store at the end of the block, and banks and grocery store nearby. A few minutes stroll are traditional dehydrated seafood shops and buses to central and the eastern side of Hong Kong. The development is a 10-minute walk between the Sheung Wan and Sai Ying Pun MTR stations. Hong Kong rental prices decreased 1.4% compared with December 2021 because of a drop in demand during Chinese New Year and the 5th wave of COVID-19. Jackie says flat hunters can take advantage of the lower prices.
People, they want to move to the central area, like the TVB, Shangwan central area from the outsider, or they want to keep the same budget, but they want to get a bigger flat. So people do have an interest to upgrade the unit.
Kit Jung has a positive outlook for the rental market as property prices in Hong Kong continue to fall.
The buyer, they are taking the wait-and-see approach to see whether there will be a further discount in the housing price. So at this moment, the buyer, they may just choose to lease the property for their demand first, instead of buying the property.
February 2021. Mars rover Perseverance floated and then powered down to the surface of the red planet. The video of its landing showed the enormous orange and white parachute opening and the red dust kicking up as the rocket engines lowered the rover to the surface. It's 1 year ago NASA's rover landed on Mars to start a 2-year mission exploring a dry river delta. Perseverance started its journey near the delta in Jezero crater to search for signs of ancient microscopic life 3 to 4 billion years old. The 6-wheeled robot will drill into rocks that may hold evidence of life. Percy, as the rover is nicknamed by staff back on Earth, uses its 2-meter-long arm to drill down and collect rock samples. Perseverance arrived on Mars with a helicopter called Ingenuity clinging to its belly. Ingenuity became the first powered aircraft to fly on another planet. Year 1 has focused on exploring the crater floor, using the helicopter as a scout to preview some of the areas that could be explored further. NASA says Year 2 will focus more on the delta area. Once a path is charted, it will take the rover a month or so to get to the location. Buried deep in the Perseverance rover's belly is a technology experiment that could have far-reaching implications for future Mars explorers. The Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment, or MOXIE, could show a way future explorers will produce oxygen from the Martian atmosphere. If successful, the technology could help generate breathable air for the first astronauts on Mars, who may land by the mid-2030s.
That's the show. Thanks for watching. Next time on Money Matters, our foray into district property moves to Wan Chai. See you then. Good night.